You did good. You did good. I'll take you on the road with me. By a show of hands, how many of you are here this morning? Some of you aren't. You get to know Matt Rush. Interesting guy about Matt Rush, one of 9 kids raised in a 3-bedroom home. I know this for a fact. He said it was so crowded when he was growing up, he never slept alone until after he was married. Good old Matt Rush. And then Mark Turner said, David Wright. David Wright's making an appearance. I gave David a comb. He said he'd never part with it. And then I met Mark Turner. Mark's an interesting guy. His brother-in-law is a veterinarian who's also a taxidermist. He's got a sign above his door that says, either way, you get your dog back. Then we have Carl from Louisiana. I love Louisiana. I don't want to live in Louisiana, Gary, but I want to be buried there. That way I can continue to vote. So in honor of Tony, where's Tony over here? Now, I was in Grand Rapids doing a program for Mercantile Bank, and one of my favorite Louisiana jokes is, what's the loneliest place in Louisiana? And the joke is, what the loneliest place in Louisiana is by yourself. Okay, that's the joke. So I say, what's the loneliest place in Louisiana? The guy in the back of the room went to public library. That hurt my heart. That hurt me. Guys, I'm a salesman. I love sales. I love salespeople. However, selling is hard. Think about this. If selling were easy, Tom Ziegler would be doing it. So he's not here, is he? My resume is not current, so I got to watch that. As much as I love selling, this is the last thing I ever thought I would want to be. I wanted to be a high school basketball coach in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Had to get an LSU graduate off your front porch. Pay for the pizza. You see. All right. So I wanted. You can use it with A&M. It works. I want to be a high school basketball coach, so I wouldn't have raised my hand had I asked this question. When you're getting out of school, going into the business world, how many of you had a burning desire to be a professional salesperson? This is your, Roddy, nobody raises their hand. This is your lifelong, this is what you want. Nobody raises their hand. Why? At some point in your life, I'm sorry?
You didn't know about race.
Yeah, you had a little leaguer's elbow. It wasn't all the way up. I mean, you didn't, yeah, you were kind of giving me a flash.
I was 4 years old.
Well, everybody, Zig's great line is, your sales team is not your entire organization. Your entire organization is your sales team. Because there's not one person that can't cost you a deal. So we're all in sales, yet you didn't gravitate toward it. So my question to you, when you were getting out of school going to the business world, you didn't have a passion to this. What negative connotations, what negative descriptors did you have to this thing called selling? What are some words that you felt about selling at some point in time? I'm sorry, out loud. Pressure? Dishonest? Being from Louisiana, we would understand.
Fast talker.
Fast talker.
Scary.
Rejection, scary. Now here's the next question. What happened to you? Once again, Zig's quote, everybody's in sales. Whether it's on your card or not, everybody's in sales. So if you had this negative connotation of selling at some point in your life, and now you are one, what happened? What was the turning point? Money. So to quote your dad, I've had money, I haven't had money, it's better to have it. I'm in Hartford, Connecticut doing a group from Smith Barney back when they were Smith Barney. There were 80 stockbrokers, and I said, why'd you go into sales? The guy raised his hand and said, I went into sales because my kids found out other children in the neighborhood were getting 3 meals a day. Now, let me tell you why I'm asking this question. Some of you are dealing with this sales values conflict and you ain't dealing with it well. Some of you do not want to be thought of as a sales. You'd like to be a new home consultant. I don't know what you'd like to do. But the point is that anything but selling. And we, my generation, since I'm the oldest person in the subdivision, since my generation has done a poor job of selling it to the next generation, we're earning our reputation as salespeople, unfortunately. But I promise you, selling has taken me literally around the world. This fake accent, we got to get rid of this fake accent. The woman is from Houston. Selling has taken me throughout the world. Selling has allowed me to put my children in the school of their choice as opposed to where Dad could afford to send them. I'm very, very respectful of sales. However, most of us have this sales values demon. If we're not totally dedicated, sold out, committed to this thing called selling, I don't care Zig Ziglar or ABC products, you're not going to be successful. Because you can't give away something you ain't got. And if Zig says, and it's true, that selling is a transference of feeling, if you don't feel good about yourself as a salesperson, you want to take orders. You do not want to close the sale. And that's going to kill 99% of us. Because as a sales professional, every day you go into the battlefield, every day you go into the marketplace, and you risk hearing no. No offense to other professions. Kayla, I love Kayla. She's counts beans and does. I can't do that. I don't have an analytical bone in my body. I'm so non-analytical. When my bank book doesn't balance, I change banks. But when we go out every day and we risk hearing no, we've got to be tougher than other professionals. Let's take a look at an accountant. How long is an accountant's reporting period? 30 days, 90 days, 360 days? How quickly do you as a sales professional get a report card? Every door knock, every handshake, every phone call. I'm sorry for you young people, every phone call. Old people, young people. That's the only change I've made in 31 years, Jill. Doing this to this. So, I'm out of here. I'm gone. I'm out of here. That's only one. That's only one. We have got to be tougher than other professionals. Not that other professionals don't have their challenges, because we have a set of challenges. So here's the question I have. I'm old school, so I'm going, purple, LSU. And I was at LSU when it was still accredited. That's pretty cool. All right, so here's the deal. What do you like about selling? What do you like about this thing called selling?
Money.
Julie, there's a pattern building up here.
Helping the customer.
I like to help people.
Educating people. Freedom.
Ooh, freedom. Ooh, I like the instant grat. Now, folks, thank you so much for giving me words I can spell, because in Louisiana, spelling was an elective. All right, so what do you dislike about this thing? You like sales, but there's a dislike. What do you dislike about it?
Rejection.
You've never been rejected.
Mark said selling.
Selling?
Being misunderstood. Being misunderstood.
Being what?
Misunderstood.
Oh, misunderstood. And then prospecting. Straight commission. Let me tell you something. Remember Cafe Max? 4 buildings ago, Cafe Max, a great little, and I was in town for a week, and I went to this Cafe Max, and it's, all kind of food, but there was a guy over here by himself for 5 days in a row, and he was eating a dinner salad, like a $1.25 dinner salad, and he had all this stuff on the table. He had to be a salesperson because he kept dropping his fork. So he was eating, and on Friday, he was the same thing every day. I walked up to him and said, "Excuse me, I've been watching you for 5 days. Are you on a diet?" He said, "No, straight commission." All right, so what you like about selling? I like the money, I like the help, I like the educate, I like the freedom, I like the gratification. The rejection, that's a misnomer. The misunderstanding, the prospecting, and the straight commission. Folks, what you like about selling, what you dislike about selling has a common denominator. And Chuck, with the exception of maybe prospecting, there's not one policy, procedure, or product on that. Therefore, what you like about selling, what you dislike about selling has that common denominator, how you handle the emotional demands of the sales profession. More so than anything else, how you and I handle the uncertainty, that up and down flow of the sales profession. And the good news is you can deal with it. I had to learn to deal with it. Once again, if you'll turn to your first page there, I want you to write this down. This is a great selling technique. It's a great selling concept. You can use it. Current customers, past prospects, you can go back. Please write this down. This is almost good. People.
I'm slow.
Oh, really? I'm Presbyterian. Write this down. People make new decisions only when given new information. People make new decisions only when given new information. People make new decisions only when given new information. Two weeks ago, my wife and I celebrated the anniversary of 49 years ago, our first date. It was a blind date. She regained her sight. And then we didn't have the second date until December, but in May, and she had a decision to make to go with me again, and I was such a jerk that the decision for the next 6 months was, I don't have anything to do with you. She got new information at a party. I went out to the LSU basketball team without a scholarship. Some jerk had my scholarship. Some guy named Pete Maravich had my scholarship. And so we went at home one night. Pete was the greatest scorer in the world. And we went at home one night on the freshman team, at home, at LSU, mom, dad, fraternity brothers, brother and sister. And we win by 54 points, and I don't play. Coach didn't want to jeopardize the lead. So I go to a party that night, and I'm been humbled, and I'm kind of walking around like this, and Cindy sees it, and she sees I've been humbled. She got new information. Danny Bevan said, Flanagan, call her. She may go out with you again. So I'm prospecting. And sure enough, second date was December after May. She made a new decision once she got new information. You have this taste in your mouth about selling. Get rid of it. I don't know how you do it. You've got to get rid of it. You've got to find out where your comfort zone is and where your effective zones are when you sell. Because selling is a transference of feeling. It helps have a little talent as you're transferring it. Because what you have a tendency to do is go back and tell your friends everything there is to know about Zig Ziglar except what it'll do for him, how she'll benefit from it. So you got to have some passion. You got to have some understanding of that feeling, but you got to put your talent with that. And sometimes that's hard to do. I had the same problem. I read a book by a guy named Zig Ziglar. He changes my life. I go to work for him in 1904. I go to work for him in 1984. I'm living my dream, working for my hero. How often do you get a chance to work for your hero? 1988 comes along. We're in Alabama. We're traveling that week. I come home late Friday night. I coach Patrick's baseball team the next day. I sit around the rest of the weekend with a remote control in my hand trying to find out what else is on television. On Sunday, Cindy comes up to me and said, Brian, we need to talk. Evan, at my house, that means I need to listen. So we sit down and she said, Brian, it's easier for me when you're not here. I'm sorry? It's easy for me when you're traveling, because when you travel, you got concierge service, you got maid service, you got housekeeping. Let me tell you something, pal. When you go to bed tonight, there's not going to be a chocolate mint on your pillow. Something needs to change. My ideal became my ordeal. Be careful. For the first time in 18 years of marriage, Pete, I put my family second. I put my career first. It was not Zig's fault, my fault. So I go to Zig's house, I go to Zig and Jean's house, and he gives me permission to leave. He was so gracious. Brian, there's opportunity, go for it. So he gave me permission to leave. Went to work for a group out in Nashville, Tennessee. I ran the Dallas operation, but all I was doing was smiling and dialing, smiling left Ken, I was just dialing. And I came home after about 6 weeks of doing that. I was so depressed that Cindy said, Brian, you'd look like the picture on your driver's license. You need to go see Mary. I said, Cindy, Mary is our marriage counselor. She's not our career counselor. Well, I married a strong-willed woman, so I went to see Mary Vernon. At the time, Mary is charging $100 an hour. I'm about to save you $100. We sit down, she talks, said, Brian, admit that you don't like to sell anymore. I said, Mary, I've worked very hard to be a salesperson. I've worked very hard. I do like to sell. She said, okay, admit there's a portion, there's an element, there's something about selling you don't like. I can do that. Mary, I hate prospecting. I hate prospecting. It's debilitating, it's humbling, it's humiliating. Here's what she said, $100 cured me. Here's what she said, write this down, $100. She said, that's okay. $50 a word. You don't have to like everything about selling to be outrageously successful at it. I'm sitting in her office out at Chisholm Place in Plano, Texas here. I'm thinking, wow, you know how liberating that is? You know how freeing that is? You don't have to like everything about your position, your job. As a father, how many have kids? You know, how many have children? How many don't have kids? And how many are too bitter to talk about it? Yeah, we actually adopted our children, so we actually had to qualify to be parents. Like a majority of people back there who created your children through unskilled labor, we had to take there are things about parenthood I don't like, but I wouldn't change that job for the world. And the point I'm trying to drive home to everybody is this. Folks, you don't have to like everything about it to be outrageously successful at it. So I give her my money, I go down to the car, I'm about to crank my car up. Sitting in the car, it dawns on me, at that moment in time, I'm a better prospector. the question. How much more did I know about prospecting after the session with Mary than I did before the session? What happened? I took my foot off my throat and gave myself permission to be successful. Folks, there's not a person in your life, there's some dream stealers, not people that are close to you that are putting their foot on your brakes. You put your own foot on your own brakes. Tom certainly doesn't do it. Man, he has given us freedom in this company. One of the great parts about working for Zig, being here, he's created an atmosphere that we want to come to work. I mean, Lori's like, she gets here at 4:30. I mean, that's how much she gets fired up. Nobody's trying to steal your dream. We do it for ourselves. Be careful, folks. Give yourself permission to manage this and celebrate this. It's okay. What a great concept. It's okay. So as we go through this today, I hope to give you a little bit of sales and a little bit more on communicating to different styles differently. But as a sales professional, I had to grow into being a salesperson. This did not come naturally for me. I started as a delivery boy at IBM my second senior year at LSU. And I had to acquire these skills because this was, my fraternity brother said, Flanagan, why are you in education? You ought to go into marketing, you ought to go into business. Scared me to death because they thought I'd be a salesperson. I proved that personality doesn't sell. I proved it for 6 years, every day. Process and personality is dangerous. But personality alone, unless you're talking to your own personality alone gets you in the game. It does not take you around the bases. I found, and I told, where's Margaret and Mike? I told them this last year, 2014. It's nothing to sneeze at, thank you. Last year, I told them this. I found out last year, after 44 years in sales, process gave me confidence to use my personality. Wow. Process gave me confidence to use my personality. I'd been doing it, it never dawned on me consciously. I was raised the same way that you were raised. My mama raised me the same way your mama raised you. I know your mama's still raising you, lady. And here's what our mother said: don't talk to strangers, don't ask people for money. So we go into sales. So for a lot of us, that's counterintuitive. So as we go through this, what I want to do is tell you that you can learn and grow into being something. The problem that we have with this company, we have such a big heart that our head gets in the way. And we have such a big heart that when the head should be in front of the heart, it isn't. Because I went to IBM after I got a hold of Zig. I was a national sales trainer at IBM's national. Now this is how old I am. I'm going to date myself, which is against the law in most states. You can't do it. I sold typewriters and copiers with the IBM. Do not nod your head if you remember typewriters. You'll give away your age. But I sold typewriters and copiers with IBM. So I get here, and I'm trying to learn my profession, and I can't sell, and I've been promoted to sales trainer. I get a hold of Zig Ziglar. It changes my life. I go to the IBM group and say, let me tell you something. This is so we're going to teach this in our classes. And they start backing up. I got to go to lunch. I'm out of here. And I scared them. Been approached by an evangelist that talks about Jesus so much that he misses you. Have you been there? And he scares you? As Harry Truman said, if they yell too loud on Saturday and pray too loud on Sunday, he wants you to make him go home and lock the smokehouse door. Well, that's how it is sometimes. We oversell this because we don't put our talent with our passion. I had to learn to do that. You need to learn to do that. Zig will change lives, but you won't. I don't change any life. I ain't changed a life. I'm trying to do not look at my closet. Zig was anointed. His stuff is so powerful because he was anointed. I'm not anointed. Therefore, I need to use some talent with that passion. I tried it with IBM. It didn't work. They ran away from me. I tried it with my buddies. They didn't want to go to lunch with me anymore. So as we go through this, what I'm going to get you to do is grow into being a person who can take Zig's legacy and spread the word the right way. Now, I agree. I'd much rather be an observer and watching your behavior and saying, I want some of that. But you need to go out and sell it at times. Show of hands, how many of you admit that you do not know how to play a game called Thumb 101? Never heard of it? Don't know what I'm talking about? Raise your hand if you do not know how to play a game called Thumb 101. Veronica, you don't know how to, you're our first volunteer. So come on up. Let's what? No, you're up, lady. No, you're up all the way up. Veronica, for volunteering, you received my latest CD entitled The 10 Smartest Men in America. And now I pick the other 9. All right, so this would be yours. The object of the game right here, the object of the game is to win, so I choose someone that hadn't played. I'm going to take your right hand. I'm going to wrap my fingers around yours. I'm going to put my thumb on top of your hand. She's going to put her thumb on top of mine. We're going to go 1, switch positions, 2, 3, then pull your thumb all the way. You're going to try to pin my thumb. I'm going to try to pin yours. You're going to watch my hands. They never leave my wrist. Okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3, go. You went for the head fake. Do not go for the head fake. Okay, we're going to give, she's representing your classmates now. She's one of you. She's representing you. We're going to give her another shot. Let's encourage her. This one counts. Yeah, you ready? You ready? You ready? 1, 2, 3, go. I don't hear any encouragement. Well done. Thank you, ma'am. Look, this is yours. Veronica, where do you live?
I live in Burleson.
Burleson, Texas. Let me check for my wallet. Okay, now here's what I want everybody to buddy up. Everybody get a partner. We're going to get a partner. We go the best 2 out of 3. You guys here. You may have to go back here, Tammy. Right here. You guys here. Go right here. Best 2 out of 3. Best 2 out of 3. Right there. Ready. Get set. Go. Okay, stop, unhook, stop. Okay, you good? Unhook, timeout. Two people over here just got engaged. All right. Page 1 of your handout. Page 1 of your handout. Veronica, with your help, we've just illustrated the 4 stages. Everybody goes through stages. You do, your family does, your customers certainly do. First stage of growth. When I said how many of you do not know how to play this game, several of you raised your hand. At that exact moment in time, you were down here where you didn't know you didn't know. When you don't know, you don't know. You're unconsciously incompetent. Psychologists call these happy people. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to go out there and talk to your friends and they don't know your offerings. They don't know all the things. They don't know they don't know. We are unconsciously incompetent. Veronica, you and I should come up here and said, I'm going to grab your hand. She said, wait a minute, I know I don't know how to do that. And she moved to the second level where she was consciously incompetent. She now knew she wasn't very good at something and she became consciously incompetent. All right, this is where I lose salespeople. I hire good people, they come to work, they hit that wall. They're not going to tell me that they don't know how to do something. They're too prideful. They're going to hide it. But you, like me, like anyone else, if you hit that wall enough times, the wall hits back. You try to avoid that, but the quota's still there. The job is still there. You still have to make cold calls. Still have to make presentations. People aren't going to pick up the phone and flood you with want to buy, want to buy, want to buy. When you get here, you put a lot of pressure on yourself. This is where Zig says we develop something called stinking thinking. Hardening of the attitudes. Who's your worst critic? You are, unless you're married. Marriage is grand, divorce $400 grand. So when we get here, folks, 3 things happen to us. Number 1, our motivation leaves. Number 2, our frustrations get real high. And the third thing you do to yourself that I do to myself, and I'm the champ at this, and this is what Zig helped me with more than anything. When I get to stage 3, the motivation goes, the frustration gets up there, and then I start to doubt myself. I chip away at my self-confidence. Man, I shouldn't have done it. I should have stayed over. I can't believe I went to Dallas and spent all that money. Man, and you start to doubt yourself. Folks, we got to get out of this stage. Now, here's an important point. It's okay to be here. It's not okay to stay here. When my children leave stage 2, they look over their shoulder. They're stronger. They feel better about themselves. They have more confidence. You grow through that stage. Next question is, how do I get out of stage 2? There's a couple of ways to do that. There's a lot of ways to do that. I'm going to talk about 2 ways to do this. Number 1, go outside yourself. Go to an external person. Somebody that'll give you a checkup from the neck up. My wife and I had so much confidence in our marriage that we got married on Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, 1970. Now the reason we did is that LSU played Mississippi State the next day. We wanted somebody to come to the wedding. So for the last 45 years or 49 years since we've known each other, No matter how many problems I have, how many planes I got canceled last Sunday and Monday, my wife has always stood in the gap for me. She is a cheerleader. However, as Jill will tell you, knowing my wife, sometimes I can't get her because oftentimes she goes out for retail therapy. So what happens when your buddies are gone that you want to get a checkup from the neck up? They're not there. Now, what Zig says has come internal. All right, Tony, you and I talked about this morning. Thank you very much. In the original, before Julie rewrote it, on page 84, now it's on page 104, but on page 84 of the original manuscript, here's what Zig says. Make a victory list to remind you of your past success. This victory list should include those things that gave you the most satisfaction and confidence. As you periodically review this victory list, you will be reminded that you have succeeded in the past and that you're capable of succeeding in the future. Your little boys are 8 and 11.
Yeah.
They need a victory list. Mom needs to help them with that victory list. Folks, we all need a victory list because we need that encouragement. And sometimes when you're selling, it's lonely because you're out there by yourself. That's how you get out of stage 2. And you did that, you little rascal, because the second time you pinned my thumb, you became consciously competent. When you're consciously competent, you know that you know. When you're consciously competent, it's front of mind, it's deliberate, and you can deliberately make your way through an activity, a behavior, sales call. The 4th stage is a stage we're all striving for. We're so good at what we do, we don't know it, and we become unconsciously competent. Athletes call it the zone. While you're in the zone, it's just hitting on all cylinders. You leave the zone, you look back and say, man, what did I do? I need to repeat that behavior. As sales professionals, we need to give ourselves a postmortem. We need to go and say, what did I do? I worked. He said that. Man, I got to repeat that. While you're in the moment, you may not know it. When you leave the moment, go back and look. Baseball analogy. I apologize for the non-baseball players here. Let me give you my rendition of where I am as a professional salesperson. In June, next month will be 45 years. So this is where I'd rate myself as a sales professional. You're saying, Flanagan, hold on, you must be from Louisiana. You've been doing this how long? And as a sales, you're not any closer to unconsciously competent? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's me. When I look at this, 19 May 2015, I am so excited because guess what? Why this is good, I made this up. Ready? I'm still growing. My greatest victories are ahead of me. After 45 years as a husband, my greatest victories are ahead of me. After 35 years of dad, my greatest victories. After 31 years of the Zig Ziglar Corporation, my victories are ahead of me. Folks, I'm on the grow. And it's excited to be on the grow. But Rodney, if you're full grown, we can go to the games, let's go to lunch, but don't join my team because he's going to bring my team down. Nikki, if I'm full grown, you do not want me on your team, guess what? I'm going to bring your team down. I'm looking for people on the grow, not going through their careers, but growing through their careers. And what a great opportunity with anything that Zig has to allow us to do that. Baseball example. I'll use Zig's line here. I used to box, had to stop boxing. My hands got injured. The referee kept stepping on it. Yeah, I love that line. Baseball, my 2 heroes, a guy named Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle, New York Yankees, Hall of Famer, unconsciously unnatural. He moves so quickly through these skills of hitting a baseball, he could not teach a kid how to hit a baseball. 536 home runs, 18 home runs in the World Series competition, Triple Crown winner, Hall of Famer. He was here. The problem was when he got into a selling slump, what he called a hitting slump, he couldn't get out of it unless he hit his way out. Because he couldn't drop down to stage 3 and correct. His biggest regret, other than not taking care of himself, he hit 298 lifetime. For you non-baseball fans, 500 home runs, 300 lifetime batting averages. Tom, already?
All good.
That quickly? Good news. Good news. He didn't hit 290. He didn't hit 300 because he couldn't adjust. My all-time hero, a guy named Ted Williams. Teddy Ballgame was also Hall of Famer, arguably the greatest hitter who ever lived. He was here, but he could drop down to number 3 and correct himself. So he didn't stay in a hitting slump very long. Here's the problem. I don't know where you are, what you do, but here's the problem. We get a new person on board. Hey, new person, go follow Mickey. He's the best we got. Hey, kid, follow me. I'm the best we got. Mickey, how'd you do that? I don't know, just do what I did. And when you do that, you got a poor coach and a frustrated follower. Now, write this down because I stole it. Write this down. Gary, if you steal from me, you're stealing twice. You model from 4, you coach from 3. You model from stage 4, you coach from stage 3. You model from 4, you coach from 3. Nothing wrong with observing. But if I'm trying to sell like Zig Ziglar sold, I can't do that. I'm not Zig. I never sold in Florence, South Carolina. I never did. I never go to people. I'm not an in-home salesperson. I can't do that. I can observe, but when I'm getting coaching, Chuck, I want to get coaching from here. When you got a problem, when you're uncomfortable, and there's a skill involved or an activity behavior, find somebody who can coach you. Nothing wrong with this. So here's what I want you to do very quickly. What I want you to do, a little exercise here. Turn to your thumb wrestling partner. In a moment, turn to your thumb wrestling partner, and I want you to do 3 things. Number 1, I want you to choose a skill that helps you run your business. Now, I'd rather you choose a selling skill, but I'm having you choose a skill that helps you run your business. In my case, Carl, you and I working, it'd be prospecting, because we need to fish in bigger ponds at the Ziegler Corporation. Number 2, once you choose that skill, I want you to tell your part of the skill. I want you to rate your proficiency in this skill. So if I chose prospecting, here's where I'd rate myself here. I chose prospecting, I rated myself here. Here's the biggie. Number 3, now this is going to take some introspective look at yourself. Number 3, I want you to provide to your partner evidence of why you would rate yourself at that level. Let me role play this with you. Mine is prospecting. I rated myself as a 3. Now I know because of this, my evidence. When I'm in town, oftentimes I'll call ahead to a weekly networking. There's a lot of networking meetings in North Dallas. You can waste a lot of time with these networking. Anyway, so I'll call Mark Washam, who's a buddy of mine. He has something at Papacito's down at the tollway. Mark, you have 15 minutes for me, 10, 15 minutes. I come out and I'll do a little Zig Ziglar presentation. We'll take some drawings. I'll give away some Zig products. I'll take the business. He said, fine. So I'll go out there and do that, take the business cards, bring them back, and give them to Michael and Mark. I don't have accounts. So I met the 3 requirements. My skill was prospecting. I rated myself, and then I gave evidence. Carl, you would then give me a skill that helps you run your business. Could be a selling skill. You would rate yourself, and then you'd give me evidence of why you support yourself at that rating. What are some skills we have to choose from? Let's talk about the selling. What are some selling skills we have to choose from? Listening. I'm sorry? Listening. I'm sorry? I love that. All right, listening. What else?
Uncovering needs.
Uncovering needs. Questioning skills, closing skills, prospecting skills, objections, all right? Running your business, what are some skills you can choose from? Take your time, I get paid by the hour. Tom, I think there's a problem here. I think we just located it. Business skills, that's like showing up on time? Okay, make something up. All right, turn to your buddy, turn to your budette there, ready, get 3-minute exercise, ready, get set, grow. You still want to make that announcement? It's hot up there. What are we talking about here? What kind of skills?
Time management.
How? Ooh. Hard.
As a realtor,
No doubt. Where'd you rate yourself? Where'd you rate yourself?
between the UC and the CC, I've been doing this for 15 years.
Wait a minute, you're between this one and this one? Oh, these two. Oh, good. Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah. Because if you were rule, I was going to question you. Wrap up. 30-second wrap up. All right. It works. It works. Let's come together. Somebody volunteer a skill that you and your neighbor talked about. It's not important which of you, just give me a skill. Yes, ma'am, Cassandra. Communication. I'm sorry, relationships. So where did she, two of you ladies here, where did she rate herself there?
She rated herself at like a 2-3, leaning more towards a 2.
Leaning more toward a 2? Here, you mean? Or leaning?
Yes, because
Wait a minute. Okay, no. I'm not going to let this pass by. No. Love this. So, Nikki, give me a prime example. Give me a specific example where you haven't built a relationship.
oh, I've never met a stranger.
Then why did you rate yourself leaning toward this?
Because on the 2 you said that you started to doubt, and I have struggled in the past with I start to doubt whenever.
Oh, doubt's not a skill.
Okay.
I ask you skill. Look, guys, stop it. Write this down. Write this down. My wife taught me this. Stop being a critic when you stop being fair. Stop being a critic when you stop being fair. So far, Nikki, I haven't heard anything. You haven't been fair to yourself. You're confusing doubt. Your skill, you build relationships. You're between the 2 and the 3 is what you said. I'm trying to find out why you said 2. And you can't, so far I haven't heard a base for that. I haven't heard of evidence of that. So if there's no evidence, maybe you're better than you think you are.
And I'm very hard on myself. I have very high expectations for myself. So
Let's go back to this skill I'm trying to talk about here.
okay.
We all are. Take your foot off your throat and give yourself permission to be successful. Nobody beats themselves up more than I do, but I'm talking about a skill. And if you look at the skill and you give evidence, maybe you look at yourself differently. I'm debating this, and I had a debate yesterday. I was coaching a client. Competency or confidence? Which comes first? What do you think? Confidence or competency?
Confidence.
So I teach my kid how to feel good about himself. He can't hit a baseball. I teach my kid how to hit a baseball. He'll feel good about himself. I'm struggling with that, but I'm on the competency side first. Man, if I make you feel good, I do you a disservice unless I give you, Zig said it, I never give a promise without a plan. And that's the difference between Zig and everybody else. Be careful with that. Feel good and do good, 180-degree opposites at times, they can be. Now, if I teach you to do good and you have fun along the way, that's great. But my obligation is put you in a position where you can build your skill. Because if I teach, the mistake I made with my children, I was teaching them to feel good because of my baggage, and there were times when I was making them feel good, I was substituting, not teaching them how to do good. I'm going to go talk to your sales team, and I'm saying, get fired up, go sell somebody something. I got 15 ways you can do that. However, they all feel good. And you leave and not know how to do something, I'm doing you a disservice. Zig stuff tells you how. Page, what is it, Julie, from page 82 to 86? You wrote it, I didn't. 15 steps to build self-confidence. 15 steps. 7 steps to set goals. And our selling process, 7 stages to sell more successfully. Not feel good about the 7 stages, but perform the 7 stages. You want to separate yourself from the competition, do a great job of training, but teach them something. Now, if you want to be, there's nothing wrong with making people feel good. Don't get me wrong. Just don't confuse the two. You know, one man's opinion. So I'm going to beat you up a little bit. Maybe you're better than you think. And thank you for. It's a bright idea. Give it to me. Not yours. A realtor. You're selling lots and lots. All right. So she said, "Would you like to see a model home?" I said, "Yeah." "What time did she get off?" All right. So what happens here, guys? Skill, rating yourself in evidence. If you'll take a look at yourself in 6 or 7 areas and be honest with yourself, maybe you're better than you think you are. Don't be afraid to look at yourself, but look at the skill. So I go to, McGowan has me in a life insurance agency 2 or 3 years ago. I go in, I put this on the board. I walked up to a young man. This guy looked like he could sell. All of them new salespeople, life insurance. I said, "Hey, what was your skill?" He said, "My skill was the same as yours, prospecting." I said, "I can relate." "Where'd you rate yourself?" "I'm a 2. I'm not good at it." "I know I'm not good at it." Great enthusiasm. I said, give me the evidence." "My boss has been beating me up. Fill up your pipeline. Put people in your funnel." So I came in last week. I blocked off an hour. I pounded the phones for 60 minutes. I set 3 appointments. I said, "Time out. Whoa, let's stop right there. Let's back up. You just told me you weren't very good at it, but by your own evidence, you spent an hour, you made 3 appointments. I would kill for that. Why did you rate yourself so low?" He said, "Oh, I hate prospecting." I didn't ask the kid if he'd liked it. Watch this. This is my own choreography. Ready? It's brilliant. This is the like page. This is the skill page. Here was a young man that was good at something by his own evidence, but he wasn't doing it because he didn't like it. Write this down. Comfort kills careers. Comfort kills careers. Comfort kills income. You don't have to like everything about it to do it. His kid was good, but he wasn't doing it because he didn't like it. As my little girl would say, "Cry me a river, build a bridge, get over it." Guys, back up, take a look at this and say, "Look, I'm pretty good at this. I'm not where I should be. I'm a lot better than I was." And the incremental growth, and you know this as well as I do, you don't leapfrog, you grow by little stages. And sometimes, yeah, you go back a little bit. It's okay. It's okay. We buy that? All right, we haven't talked them the right communication. All right, guys, I need some verbal feedback. So I need to teach this group how to talk Texan. Where am I?
I know how.
Yeah, good. Where are my native Texans? Okay, good. I'll talk real slow. When I moved from Baton Rouge to Dallas, Texas, only 2 words in the Texas vocabulary you need to watch carefully because both of the words have accompanying facial expressions. Here's the first word from Texas that's its accompanying facial expression. It goes like this. Uh-uh. Here's the second word from Texas with its accompanying facial expression. It goes like this. Uh-huh. Now that you have the entire Texas vocabulary, on the count of 3, that communicates, doesn't it? 1, 2, 3. Uh-huh. Folks, this is huge. If you'll take a look at yourself in 6, 7, or 8 skills, 6, 7, or 8 skills, an individual page on 6, 7, or 8 skills, and you do that, and you find out that's where you've just designed a personalized training program for yourself for the rest of the year. Doesn't have to come from somewhere else. Doesn't have to come from outside. This is what you do. My job is to move you up the scale. That's what your job is. Zig moves people up the scale. A fellow in Nashville, Tennessee said, "Zig Ziglar's kind of long on fuse and short on bang." I said, "Roger, when was the last time you heard Zig speak that you felt that?" "Oh, I've never heard him speak." "Then you don't know." "Well, I mean, you're right." Zig gives you opportunities to move up the scale. And the reason I use this, and I spent a lot of time, for 6 years in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I knew I wasn't very good. That's a heck of a way to spend 6 years of your life. IBM had the only typewriter that had a little ball on it. Everything everybody else had type bars. So IBM had the exclusive. Tracy, I couldn't make my quota. Now, it wasn't my fault. They gave me a bad territory. I got 6 parishes down the Mississippi River, and all my people are French-speaking Cajuns. Wonderful people, a little strange. They look funny. They have low foreheads, walk on their knuckles, and wear turtleneck pants. I walk into Plaquemine, Louisiana, Iberville Parish, Plaquemine, Louisiana, and I can't find anybody to wait on me. So I go in the back. There's a coffee shop, and I got 3 people with the obituary column turned to and they're trying to figure out why people died in alphabetical order. But they taught me the number 1 law of sales. Write this down. The number 1 law of sales. Timid salespeople have skinny kids. Thank you, Judge. Folks, if you're not stepping up to the challenge, you ain't putting bread on the table. So I did a few things right, and I got promoted in 1978. I come to Dallas, and I don't deserve it because I couldn't sell. Those who can do. Those who can't teach. And those who can't teach sales. So I get to one main place. I'm a little guy from a little town with a little image, and all of my competitors, my co-workers, my competitors for the next job, they're from large cities. Catherine from Chicago, Linda's from New York, Ron from Seattle. So one of my buddies said, Flanagan, go out and buy this book. So I went down to the bookstore in downtown Dallas for $12.95. Bought a book by a guy named Zig Ziglar. I'm not a bookworm at the time. I'm not a tapeworm. I'm not investing in myself. And I get to page 48 and my world changes. Here it comes. You cannot consistently perform in a manner that is inconsistent with the way you see yourself. Now, my wife had told me that for 8 years. My mother told me that for 30 years. Until I read that book, I was missing success about 12 inches, and that's the distance from my head to my heart. For $50,000, IBM had trained me to be a sales professional and intellectually understood it, but I never felt it. I was in sales for 6 years before sales was in me. Big difference. What Zig was saying, Brian, increase your deserve level. You're better than this. Let's work on it. So when I got involved in that and learned the steps with that, 2 years later, I go to San Francisco to the largest typewriter branch as their sales manager. What changed? The person more than the professional. Now, when you're selling this, when you're going out and working with people, you got to build both. Tom coined the phrase will, skill, and refill. It's the last time I'm going to give you credit for it. But those three things are something that we do better than anybody. I took the technical side of the IBM world, and I combined it with the people side, and it's provided a pretty good living for me. And the point I'm trying to drive home, you need all three. You need skill, you need will, and you need refill. But my point to you is this: invest more in yourself than you do in your career. The reason I suggest that, and I've seen this, personal growth precedes professional growth. I don't make this up. That's how it is. So is that an all-home? As we go into this, Jill has an announcement to make because we're going to cut it off here, and we're going to go into Jill's announcement. Don't feel foolish. You work with me. You've been feeling foolish for 31 years. Jill started a week after I did, back in 1984.
That's funny when you say 1904. It's not funny when you say it about me.
But this is funny. Jill went from Texas Tech to Mississippi.
You don't know.
This is funny. To Mississippi.
You need to tell the story.
Please let me tell it. Thank you. And she went to Starkville, Mississippi, at Mississippi State, and she said, "Is this Ole Miss?" She didn't know the difference between Ole Miss and, now see, David is laughing at that. 1984, and we got her.
Okay, so here was the plan, and we'll still go with the plan if anybody wants to go with the plan, but I'm thinking nobody's going to want to. The plan was for Brian to spend the next 35 minutes teaching you how to sell training. And I know some of you in here are not selling training because you're doing this in-house. And so the plan is, if you want to come with me into the break room, I have some information about training and facilitating and in-house being a trainer in your organization. But I'm not funny. So if you want to come with me, that would be great. I'm ready for you, and we'll do it. Now's the time. We'll all break at 10, and then we'll all get all back together. So that's just 35 minutes of me. But if you're like, well, I'm not leaving, I understand. So is anybody interested in coming with me and discussing in-house training? David, my friend. Okay, all right, let's go.
Evan, David, get out of here. Personally, I thought they'd never leave. And David, when I leave Louisiana, and David and I go to Mississippi, I raise the IQ of both states. And in Louisiana, we say, thank God for Mississippi.
Just to add to what Jill's doing, Jill's will not be recorded, so it won't be available later. So if you're kind of torn, Brian will be recorded. You'll be able to see him later if you want to go with
And I'm used to people leaving while I'm speaking because I'm married. Think about that. Right?
Amen.
Okay, turn to the next page. Here we go. Here's the involvement. Turn to the next page. You got two boxes. First box, of all the things, this is an open-ended question. Of all the things you sell, what are three things that you sell? Of all the things you sell, list three things that you sell. Ready, get set, list. Of all the things you sell, list three things that you sell. Of all the things you sell, list three things that you sell. Ready, grow. What are you doing out of your cage? All the things your customers want. List 3 things that your customers want. All right, so I take a quick spot check. This obviously isn't comprehensive, but it gets us started. So I sell service, I sell expertise, advice, I sell coaching, I sell myself, I sell ZLC. I bring you, if you said you sold yourself, that's against the law in Michigan. You can't do. Now, I didn't see what you said, I didn't see what you had written, so please somebody raise their hand, give me one thing that your customers want. Yes, Chuck?
Knowledge.
They want knowledge.
Freedom.
Freedom. Growth. Happiness. Oh, happy days. Pardon me?
Savings, but not just money.
Speed.
Peace.
Speed. Acceleration, like short and
Speed.
solution. Efficiency, I think. Yeah, she didn't want to have you spell that one.
Security.
Okay, you got a problem. We got a problem with the Ziegler Corporation because we got the same problem that you got. You're selling service, advice, and coaching, and they want happiness, peace, and security. What's your problem? Tracy, a little louder, please.
They don't match.
Your list don't match. You're saying, Flanagan, that's a trick question. Let me give you a trick question. How much money do you make personally? Huh? I get paid weekly, very weekly. How much money do you make on a sale? How much money do you make on a sale you almost close? Okay, I've been doing this 45 years. 43 of the 45 years I've been on commission. I've never made a dime on a sale I almost closed. I can miss it by this much or this much. And the problem is this is my comfort zone, and this is the buyer's buying zone. We live here, they live there, we need to change neighborhoods. I've been here 31 years, folks. No offense to anybody in here. I got all the low-hanging fruit. It's gone. This is easy. This is hard. The future of the Zig Ziglar Corporation is going to be here, not here. Your future is going to be here, not here. Howard, you got any carpet cleaning competition down in Houston area?
Nope.
Yeah, not anymore. Because
The only one that we have is ourselves.
because he knows that this is what the competitors do, this is what we do. Let me tell you something. If you spend more time on that first box than you do the second box, they have it, we have it, they're cylindrical, we're cylindrical, they're color coordinated, we're color coordinated, they're ambidextrous, we're ambidextrous. What have you just done? You've taken your love, your passion, and you've reduced it to a commodity. As a consumer, when you have to make a decision on commodity, what do you make it on? Price. And now you're going to be the low-cost provider. If you want to separate yourself, learn, write this down somewhere, lead with need. Don't lead with product or service, lead with need. The problem is that we get caught up in what we do and not what the other person does. I promise you, when you go out and talk to somebody about Ziegler, let me tell you what I know about Ziegler. His real name, by the way, is Hillary Hinton Ziegler. The doctor's name, help me out, Julie left. The doctors named him, and he was born in Calhoun County, Alabama, 1926, November 6, 1926. At age 5, he moved to Yazoo. He's the 10th of 12 kids. He met Gene Abernathy in Jackson. Everything I've told you is true. It's right on target. It means nothing. If you want to have a better relationship with your spouse, it means nothing. He's written 32 books. Oh, I got to buy them all? Just want one. No, he's written 32. So if I found somebody that wrote 64, he's twice as good. What is 30? It means nothing. Because we have a tendency to spend our time here because this is your comfort zone. This is the customer's buying zone. We got to sell a product of the product. It's not the product, it's what the product does. Too often we get hung up on this side because that's our comfort zone. We know not to do it going into the call, but while in the call, they throw us a curveball and we go to our comfort zone. Put your pins down just for a moment. There's been injuries. Going on injuries in this section. Group participation. Everybody give me the okay sign right about here. Move your hand right down here to your chin. That's your cheek. I just got finished. It's amazing how quickly we can do that, and all of you have seen this before. And on the call, I go back to my comfort zone, which is everything I know about Zig, what he did for me, how he touched my heart. This guy's getting killed in the sales world, and I'm talking about heart. And this guy's got an owner on him because he's a sales manager, and I'm talking about heart. That's not his pain. His pain is a sales manager, not his heart, his backside. You've got to understand them and then focus it on them here. So you lead with this and you reinforce with this. If I go out and make a sales call, Justin, stop me if you see something you like. I can make a sale, but I can't make a livelihood. Because when I go out there, so Cassandra, at your stage in life, what's important to you? What are you trying to do? What are your goals? I'll do it a little slower. What steps what hurdles do you have to go overcome to get those goals? Oh, really? And if you hit those goals, what's the benefit to you? Oh, really? Now I can show her this because it's specific to her. Everybody's in sales and nobody wants to be in sales. And I've had people sales is you got these lunches, you got expense accounts. Hey, we got a territory open. You want? Oh, I don't want to do it. It's hard. So when we get into sales, we become something we don't want to be. Because if I brought two of you up right now and said, you're the customer and you're the Ziegler person, make a sales call, you know what you could talk about? Your comfort zone. You don't ask questions. You show up, you throw up. Be careful. You want to separate yourself from the competition, be over here. So in 1984, March of 84, I go to work for Zig. I'm living the dream. I've been here 3 months. Zig comes up to me one morning and said, Flanagan, I'd like to take you to lunch. Zig, I'll be there. So he goes off. I pick up the phone and call Cindy and say, Cindy, at lunch, I'm getting a promotion. She said, what? You're an idiot. She uses that term a lot. She said, what do you mean? You've only been there 90 days. I said, Cindy, the founder of the company, the guy that started, his name's on, he's taking a new employee. I'm going to call you this afternoon and tell you about my promotion. So we go to lunch. We sit down. Zig does not talk about Brian Flanagan's promotion. He talks about my performance. He said, Flanagan, 90 days ago, we forecasted your sales as going this for the first 90 days. I've been looking at the numbers, and your sales are flat. What's the deal? I thought he was about to fire me. So I leaned over and I said, I love you, man. He said, regardless of that, what are you selling? I'm selling books, tapes, and seminar seats. Brian, that's a problem. We don't sell books, tapes, and seminar seats. What do? We provide information contained in books, tapes, and seminar seats. If our clients take, use, and apply the information correctly, what we sell is a better self, a better family, and a better career. Guys, I think back 6 years prior, I promise you, I did not want a 382-page book. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I needed. What I wanted was to be able to compete with these people that I thought were better than me. And the steps to the top, pretty good name for a book, the steps to the top was what I was after. I didn't want what the book was, I wanted what it does for Brian. Your customers aren't going to get as excited about Ziegler as you are. Depending on where you are, they don't get excited at all. Because I go to the Northwest, and in Seattle, you can be up there soon, Zig Ziglar, take some penicillin, get rid of me, get away from me. They don't know it. Northeast, they don't know us. You've got to learn to throw different pitches to different batters, but you always throw it to their buying zone, not here. Guys, this is hard. Because it's just like moving your hand from your chin to your cheek. You know it, but you fall into it. And I could give you chapter and verse. I can. Bob Theodore is one of my all-time examples. Joe Stollard at Sewell, I blew that sale because I was leading with product. I got outsold because I didn't ask questions. ABC, always be curious. You're always curious. You may not always be closing. Always be curious. All right. Questions, answers, comments on this? Stay on this page. We haven't left it yet. We're okay? All home? Top page, top of the first box, I want you to put products. Products. We have a tendency to lead with products. That's our comfort zone. That's our sweet spot. On the second box, please write the word values. That's where the customer lives. If we understand what value our training brings, what value our coaching brings, what value our interaction brings, our marketing brings. You got competition? You're out of Chicago? I'll repeat the punchlines for you. You got competition. So what separates you? What separates us from Carnegie or Sandler or DDI or 15,000 other people or anybody that's every SMU professor in marketing or UTD? This. Because this drives value, this drives price. If you can make a mistake, over-explain one, under-explain the other. Over-explain this, under-explain this. Out to the side of, let me see, I've got some nice little pins here. Oh, let's do it with green. Out to the side of products, write tell, T-E-L-L. Products tell. Out to the side of values, write sell, S-E-L-L. Products tell, values sell. At some point in time, you're going to have to go back and talk about the products and the features and the functionality. I respect that, understand that. Don't lead with that. Because as soon as you do, you're driving price. You may want to write this down. I stole this from Mr. Ziegler like I've sold half of my career. Okay, 3/4 of my career. Never quote price until you've established value. Never quote price until you've established value. In the car business, you can't do that because the sticker prices are on the windshield. I understand that. But in our business, the intangible business, we don't have a sticker on the product. Don't quote price until you've established value. It's amazing when I do coaching calls or when I go out with our clients and shadow the salespeople, it's amazing how many salespeople bring up price before the prospect does. Be careful. If you can't afford to buy it, understand you ain't selling to yourself. Don't impose that value on me. I'll never ask somebody that question. Why not? Because I don't want to be asked that question. You're not selling to yourself. Get over it. Be careful. All right, if you would, questions, answers, comments, snide remarks. I'll take them all. All right, with your thumb wrestling partner, you may have to juxtapose back there, Rodney, but with your thumb wrestling partner, how does this page, right there and on the flip chart here, how does this resonate with you? You're buying it, you're not buying it, you find yourself on one side, whatever resonates with you. What's your impression of that page? Let's have a 3-minute discussion. Ready? Grow. Just in time. How have you been? I'm doing well. You can do 3 of them. Yeah. 30-second wrap up, 30 seconds.
People don't necessarily need a keynote, they need productivity and effectiveness and profit, so that should be made bigger.
Okay. Need your attention. I have no idea why hissing works. It won't work with kindergartens. It won't work with salespeople either. But normal people, it works pretty well. What resonated with you? And anything that came out of your discussion with your buddy or bud out there? What came out of that?
We need to ask more questions.
Need to ask more questions. Folks, write this down. Whoever has the most information has the most influence. I'll say it backwards. Whoever has the most information. Whoever has the most information has the most influence. Stop it. Let's go with mine. Whoever has the most influence, has the most information, has the most influence. Whoever has the most information, and you get that information through asking questions. It's great when somebody calls Michael or Margaret and says, hey, we got a meeting coming up, here's what we need. We're down, our sales team is young, we haven't trained them and all, it's great. We don't get enough of those phone calls. You don't either. You've got to go out and be proactive in this. I'm an old man, and I believe this fervently, I believe this abundantly, I believe this. Social media has made cowards out of salespeople. Be careful. Be careful. First,
tweet right there.
I've been carrying Howard for 4 years. Now here's the deal. I get.
By the way, Brian, it's called Twitter. TWI.
Obama's got one of those. I think he got one of those yesterday. He got one of those yesterday. My boss calls me in my senior year of delivery boy in Baton Rouge. My boss calls me and said, look, we got the guys coming in from the remote locations. I want you to meet them because you'll be working for them. You'll be delivering their stuff. So come on in. So I came in and I met everybody. And so he has a flip chart. He turns it over. First thing I ever saw in a business meeting. First thing I ever saw in a business meeting. 3 words. Calls plus demonstrations equals sales. So let me see how I can complicate this. Let's see, I can say this, or I can not make a call. I can do territory management. I can shuffle. Calls plus demonstrations equals sales. Calls plus presentations in your world equals sales. I don't care how you get there. I don't care how you get there. But that doesn't change. There's something to be said fundamentally for selling is in its simplest form as a communication process. You and I complicate the process. They asked Willie Mays how to play baseball. Simple. They throw it, I hit it. They hit it, I catch it. Simple. Arnold Palmer's dad taught him to play the game of golf. Son, hit the ball hard, go find it, hit it again. Selling, asking and listening, asking and listening, asking and listening. That's all it is. Don't complicate it. Don't put 14, as Zig said, 14 moving parts in 4 syllables. We don't need that. KISS. Keep it simple, Flanagan. Don't make it harder than it is. Anything that came out of this? Ask questions. What else?
Get over myself.
Get over yourself. Jump back, Loretta. What does that mean, Tammy?
That means it's not about me. It's all about
So here's the deal. This guy wrote a book that sold 38 million copies. Rick Warren, some book like Purpose Driven Life.
Yeah.
First sentence, it ain't about me. Or it ain't about you. I could have written that. Howard could have written that. Howard could have stole that.
I did steal that.
But it ain't about you. I dated a young lady who made me feel like she was the only girl in the world. May 7th, 1966, I have a date with Cindy Katie. She made me feel like I was the only guy in the world. We've been married 45 years. Where is your focus? That's part of this. Thank you. What else? Anything from the remedial side of the room back there with you? All right, guys, here's what happens. We have a tendency to over-explain this. Stop it. Be deliberate. Be consciously incompetent so you can get to consciously competent. This is not easy because what you do is you go to where your comfort zone is and they throw your curves. Okay, let me start talking. And we think we're being productive. Don't confuse activity with accomplishment. Be careful with that. I'm a big believer in this. At the top of the page, it has first understand, then be understood. That's Stephen Covey's fifth habits of seven highly effective people. All right, that has too many, for Ziegler people, that has too many words. Let's reduce those 5 words to 3 words. Here they come. You ready? Listen, then explain. Listen, then explain. It's a great mantra. Listen, then explain. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to try to practice what I preach, because the hardest part of working for Zig is being a product of the product. So if I'm not a product of the product, I want you to take literally 1 minute, turn to your neighbor. What's a selling skill that you would like to get better at? So quickly, just turn to your neighbor. What's a selling skill you would like to get better at? Because I want to listen to that. Ready, get set, 1 minute, go. What's a selling skill?
Mine is making the right words for the call. Not having
the organization at the moment, but I don't know whether I should be asking more. What
All right, need your attention. Need your attention. So guys, a couple of things. Questioning skills, closing skills. Somebody give me some other things that you talked about. What's another skill?
Delivering the price.
Delivering the price. All right, what else? Thank you, Jacob. What else? Bueller, what else? Chuck, you don't raise your hand unless you mean it.
Overcoming the objections that they specifically are getting through the internet.
One more time. Objections are specifically getting.
Misconceptions developed through the internet.
All right, good. What else? All right, need your attention. Here's what we can do. Chuck, I'm going to take objections. Now, I want you to follow along with me, guys. This is a selling model. I want you to learn how to use it, but also if you have to teach it, you can understand what you're trying to do with your clients. Follow me on this, because I'm going to model 2 things. Number 1, I'm going to model good questioning skills. Number 2, through those questioning skills, I'm going to find this room's dominant buying motive. I could do it individually, Cynthia, Veronica, I can do all of that. But we're going to do it in mass, all you Catholics. We're going to do it in mass in here. Am I going too fast for some of you? Okay. And everybody's name's Chuck. So everybody participate with me, and this is plastic, it's I understand. We're going to take objections. So Chuck's objections. You would like to get by with objections. I would like to know how to deal with objections. Okay, here we go. Chucks of the room. Chuck, if you had the ability, the confidence, the competency to deal with objections, what's the benefit to you?
Growth.
Growth?
Failing forward.
Failing forward?
Yes.
Okay, more sales on what? Yeah, Chucks, isn't this amazing? You didn't tell me money up here. I had to drill down to find out what you're looking at. So if you had the ability to manage objections, so you could grow your company, you could fail forward, you could get more money, why is that of value to you?
That's why you're in business.
I'm sorry?
That's what you're in business for, isn't it?
Because I meet my goals.
No skinny kids.
Yeah,
I don't have, okay, Ken, that's good. No skinny kids. All right, so here's the question, Chuck. Now here it comes. So Chuck, if you had the ability to manage objections, grow your company, fail forward, make more money, meet your goals, and you could supply your kids with the things you as a dad or a mom want, how would you feel? Okay, this is what we do right here. We sell great. You're saying, Flanagan, I'm in Michigan. We haven't felt since 1987 in Michigan. Guys, Zig says, once again, selling is a transference of feeling. If I can get you to feel the way I do about the Zig Ziglar Corporation, I'll have a customer for life. 1988, I leave Zig. I never left the message. Well, I usually go to the book. You know this. I never left the message. You can have everything in life you want if you. That followed me from 88 to 91 when I came back. Zig transferred that feeling to me. If I can put you in a position where you can feel good about yourself through your skills, then you'll be successful. Folks, this is what we do for a living. Did you notice that I had to work to get it? When you first told me these are the things, I had to drill down. Why is that important? Why is that a benefit? What's an impact? Why do you want to have that? How would you feel about yourself? What would you feel as a mom or a dad? Guys, that's how we get here. The left-hand side of the page, I'm going to make a sales call on you. Follow along because this is almost important. You ready? That's selling right there. Everybody draw that little thing, and I'm going to make a sales call on you. And I expect you to use this every time. And I'll show you how I use it. I'll go grab something off my desk. Mr. Prospect, thanks for meeting with me today. As I said over the phone when I set the appointment, what I'd like to do is find out a little bit about yourself, the organization, some of the goals you've established, some of the hurdles that you have to overcome to reach those goals. I just went into POGO, P-O-G-O, person, organization, goals, and obstacles to those goals. Mr. Prospect, the reason I want to find out, you ready? Everybody write this down. Mr. Prospect, the reason we want to find out your goals. I'm not going to run out yet, Philip. Thank you, though. Philip Hatfield, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Prospect, I know from raising children, I know from watching my wife raise children, I can't reach goals for clients. I can't reach goals. Let me tell you why we're successful and why the Zig Ziglar Corporation has had the international success. I mean, from Australia to Oklahoma. I mean, it's been from foreign countries. The reason we've had our international success is that once we find out your goals, you're going to find that my company, better than anyone else, works diligently. Ready? Put this in your line there. We're going to work diligently to put you in the best vehicle to reach your goals. Mr. Prospect, if we can do that, I expect to earn your business. Is that fair? You want to separate yourself from the competition. There it is. Nobody's doing that. And Margaret and Michael asked them how nervous they get when we make a face-to-face call and I'm in a boardroom and I see a board, I see a whiteboard and I start getting up, they get nervous. Because I'm going to grab this and I do this because this solidifies the Ziglar Corporation. It separates us from anybody else out there. Mr. Prospect, we're going to work hard to find out your goals, and once we do, we're going to put you in the best vehicle to reach your goals. Mr. Prospect, if we can do that, I expect to earn your business. Is that okay? That fair enough? However you want to close that out. Folks, these two words right here, powerful. The reason I like them, and although this is a Louisiana definition, this is free enterprise until the current administration tries to change it. This is how we are organized in this country. We are a company. We provide a benefit, and if we provide the benefit better, then we win. If not, if our brand X competitor finds their goals faster, better, quicker, we don't deserve the business. I like the competitive nature of sales. That's what we do every day. Now here's the deal. 1978 when I first met Zig through his books, 1980 when I first met him, I had a goal. IBM wasn't the vehicle. I wanted Zig to be the vehicle. I go to work for him. My goal is my family. I can find another job. I can't find another Patrick, Cindy, and Quinn. So my goals were here, but the vehicle, I didn't handle it well. It wasn't the organization's fault. I didn't handle the vehicle very well. Because I came home and Cindy said, this ain't working. This ain't why we did this 18 years ago. So I was in the wrong vehicle. Now understand that you may be out there with your client. This is not a personal, it's a client thing. Your client may have goals and they got the wrong vehicle. The people that are supplying them right now, your competitor, ain't the best vehicle for them. You can replace that. Be aware of that. Questions, answers, comments. All right, I hate name droppers. I was telling Al Pacino last week. I hate name droppers. So many years ago in this community, there's a guy named Roger Staubach, so I'm going to drop that name. Roger Staubach had a commercial real estate agency, 55 offices worldwide. Roger didn't make a lot of money in pro football. He made $642 million when he sold that company to Jones, Lang, and LaSalle. So we go out and do, over here by the office in the old days on wherever it is, on the tollway. We go in, I do a lunch and learn for 6 brokers. I put this on the board, we do a few other, they like what we do, we come back and do the formal training, we close the deal. I put this back on the board in the formal training. One of the guys, Scott Collier, who we worked with to place the other building, I guess. Scott leaves and comes back and has a piece of paper. Flanagan, I tried this. We were working with a competitive situation. There was a competitive commercial broker. We weren't getting anywhere, so I drew this on had a piece of paper. I drew this on it. I put goals, I said, what's on your plate right now? If we can put you in a vehicle to take it off the plate, would you give us a couple of projects? The guy said, yeah. That wasn't the only thing that got him the job, but it was part of the process. So Margaret sends, thank you Margaret for being here. Margaret, ask Margaret how she got her job. I mean, I had to work for my job. I just asked Margaret how she got her job with Tom and Chachas. I'm very upset over this. I'm serious. At the break, ask Margaret how she got the job. So Margaret, it's a great story. So Margaret sends me to Indianapolis, Dow Chemical, $4.2 billion division of Dow Chemical, Dow AgroSciences. Guy sends me an email. I opened the actual sales call on Greg using this technique. I said, Greg, what are your short-term goals and how can we work together to achieve them? Tammy, read these words out loud if you would underscore.
After Greg finished laughing at me.
After Greg finished laughing, the guy laughed at him. He's using my technique, the guy laughs at him. Parentheses. Remember, I've called on Greg on and off for more than 15 years. Now here's what this is saying, a senior sales specialist in Florida. I've called on this guy for 15 years and never. You want to separate yourself from the competition? Ask people their goals. Isn't that amazing? I assured Greg I was serious. Had a great conversation. Greg even called in the COO or CFO as marketing director. Folks, this only works if you do. Then Morgan and I, when we take notes on sales calls, I got something there on my notepad. When they sit down with me, I go to their office. I've got this in the upper right-hand corner. I got 3 things in the upper right-hand corner of a piece of pizza. I got that, and I got 2 questions I'm about to share with you. Folks, I've been doing this a long time. I got to be consciously competent because I'll forget things. I got to be focused on being in the here and now, getting out of my way, making sure that I got this firmly planted and I got these questions, because that's how we close deals. And again, we have resources here. Morgan and Michael are great resources. Tom, not so much. But Morgan and Michael are great resources here. They sell this stuff every day. Get with them, pick their brain, call them, email them. Don't email me because, is it Twitter that I have, Howard? Oh, I got email too. I'm sorry, I got both. I'm sorry, I just want to check with Howard. Howard, work on your tan. All right, so here's what we need to do. Here's what we need to do. Understand there's a process involved in getting that. Turn to the next page. There's a process involved in getting this. Now, this is not the only process, but guys, it's a pretty good process. This is my 5th generation of process at being with Ziegler. 5 steps before, but I left out, everybody circle the C, right smack dab in the middle, the C, confirm, that's where we lose sales. We give a product solution before the guy knows he has a problem. Stop it. Don't give Justin a glass of water until he knows he's thirsty. Because if not, I'm just pushing water on the guy. Now, when I find out he's thirsty, I need not just find out what he needs to quench his thirst. But don't offer something unless the guy understands he has a need. Why are you giving him product solutions? All right, at the top of the page, write this: selling is a process, not a personality. Selling is a process, not a personality. And I'm going to take 3 minutes and go a little bit over. Tell Jill I'm 3 minutes late, but then she knows that because she's worked with me for 100 years. Let me give you 2 techniques that I have gotten great dividends from. The best technique I know is a question. Here it comes. What's the benefit to you? What a great question. What's the benefit to you? Not will you buy from me. The last word of that question is me. The question is, what's the benefit to you? How would that positively impact your bottom line? If we got your people more productive and have better team, both what we call that after the break, productivity and harmony, how would that impact your productivity? It's all about the other guy. If we can do blank, what's the benefit to you? I'm in the conference room before we made this a training room. The conference room, Dan sits down from outside of Chicago. He sits down and said, Dan, if we can do this with your sales team, what's the benefit to you? Without hesitation, he says, I'll put 70 years of cash away for my daughter who will never be self-sufficient. Whoa, man. What a great goal. How do I get that answer? I asked. I didn't know where he was going with it. I asked a guy in Brownwood, Texas, what's the benefit? I get out of this one-horse town. I'm sorry? Brian, I got a master's degree in public health. I got a 50-bed hospital. I want a 500-bed hospital. Get me out of here. Can I help it? I can't get him, but I can put him on a vehicle that if he gets better indexes, surveys from the doctors. Don't be afraid to ask that question. Downtown, Sam Tannenbaum told me the benefit to me, Flanagan, is when I retire, the CPA firm that I built will live after my retirement. Great answer. I don't get the answer unless I ask the question. All right, let me give you something that's real strong that I don't know why, but last year, not so much this year, maybe I got to get back better doing it. But here's a great technique that I'm using, and it's working. It sometimes works with the explain your recommendation. It's kind of the transition, but here it comes. Let me give you the statement, then I'm going to give you a question. Listen to both of them before we write. I'll repeat it. Mr. Prospect, based on what we've talked about so far, I'm confident we can help you in this area. How do I transfer that confidence to you? Okay, let me say it again and write it down. I'm confident we can do blank. Based on what we've talked about, based on what you said, Mr. Prospect, based on what we've talked about, I'm confident we can do And the question comes then, how do I transfer that confidence to you? Last year it was dynamite, not so much this year. Well, I don't know why, but I got to get back in this groove. Do you understand the power of that? I'm confident, based on what you've said, not, let's think about something. Based on, Mark, what you've told me so far, I'm confident we can make that happen for your firm. How do I transfer that confidence to you? What are some possible answers you would get from your customers? Send me a proposal. Who else have you done work with? Where can I see you in action? So those are the three things I was getting until last year. I'm getting this. Let's look at dates. He's closed it for me. My inventory is my calendar. When somebody says, let's look at dates, it's a close. And I got a lot more of that last year than I did this year. Don't know why. I'm still working on that. Don't know why. But don't be afraid to ask those questions. You may get, well, who else have you worked with? Can I see in that? Whatever you get. But now you know what path you need to be on to reach their goals for. Questions, answers, comments before we go to break. Questions, answers, comments. Okay, turn to your neighbor very quickly. 1 minute. What did you learn this morning? So quickly, what did you learn in the first hour and a half? Ready, get set, turn to your neighbor. Ready? 1 minute. Best idea you've got. Need your attention. Continue that discussion at the break. Let me leave you with 2 quotes. We'll be back in 15 minutes. Let me leave you with 2 quotes, and I'll repeat those if you need me to. You make more money solving problems than you do selling training. You make more money solving problems than you do selling training. And you have a process to find out what those problems. You make more money solving problems than you do selling training, or marketing, or internet marketing, or social media. Okay, here's the best I got, and we'll go to break. Here it comes. This is my favorite. Here it comes. You ready? You make more money solving problems than you do. Are you from Australia or something? How long have you been left-handed? Because you're from Australia, do you write this way or this way?
Oh my goodness.
You make more money solving problems than you do selling. So here it is. Ready? We'll close with this. Process takes pressure off the person. All right, guys. Be back in 15 minutes. Ready, get set. Process takes pressure off the person. Be back in 15 minutes. Ready, grow. Get out of here. Go do something.